I'm Russian, you can hear it by my accent when I talk. I live in Russia, which is considered authoritarian like other former Soviet states. It is popular opinion that we are not very close to the modern Western standards in human rights and freedom of speech. And in some ways, yes, we are. But what about books and literature? Russian history has periods of being an avant-garde in world literature on the one side, and also a period of long strict censorship with a lot of books being prohibited. You can watch the video about books that were banned in USSR by link up there. So what about books that are banned in Russia nowadays? Let's start. Part number 1, according to law. Nowadays in Russia there is no list of books that are forbidden to read, but we have a federal list of extremist materials. It is posted on the official website of the Ministry of Justice. There are now about 4,500 points. This list can include a book, article, newspaper, magazine, song, or another material from the internet. Extremism is a very broad concept, very popular in Russian language field. The word comes from the Latin extremus, it means commitment to extreme measures. For example, murders, the destruction of entire groups of people in order to achieve certain political and economical goals. But according to the broadness of the concept, a very wide field of texts can be considered extremist. The list of the Ministry of Justice includes, for example, such materials as the book Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler. No comments here, I guess. Several books by Scientologist Ron Hubbard. The court decided that they justify violence, including actions against representatives of the authorities, and also that they contain hidden calls for religious hatred. Songs of the Коррозия металла, Съешь живьем, Задержите поезд, Heil Führer, songs of the group Калаврат, Хоронит скина, Слепое правосудие, and a number of others. According to the court, they contain calls for violence and intolerance. But the law doesn't have any restrictions for reading extremist literature. You can listen to the Kolvrat group and read Hitler as much as you like. But I hope you don't like it much. Part number 2. What you will be punished for. You will face the law only if you produce, store or must distribute materials of the federal list. For example, you printed copies of the book Mein Kampf on a printer and gave it to everyone you know. Or if you will turn on the song of Kolvrat on a portable speaker and went for a walk in the Central Park. Or if you post or repost such materials in social networks. Leaflets on the fence, the text of extremist books on the VK page, videos with extremist songs on your YouTube account. According to the law, this is all considered mass distribution. Responsibility for this may be administrative, about 3,000 rubles, or 15 days in jail. And maybe criminal. It is much more complicated in details, but in general you can be sent for jail for about 7 years. But formally, if you download a book on your phone, read it for yourself, and you don't show it to anyone, this is not mass distribution. Even if you showed it to a friend, this is also not a mass distribution. Now in Russia there is no responsibility for downloading materials recognized as extremist, sending them to yourself in any way, storing them in paper form on the phone or computer. However, you shouldn't do it, extremism is awful and you shouldn't support it in any way. Part number 3. Recent update connected with LGBT propaganda. President Vladimir Putin on December 5, 2022 signed a law banning LGBT propaganda, pedophilia and gender reassignment in Russia. The law introduces liability for propaganda of non-traditional sexual relations, pedophilia and gender reassignment among persons of any age. Previously, only LGBT propaganda among persons under the age of 18 was prohibited. Violation of the ban on LGBT propaganda leads to fines of up to 400,000 rubles for civilians and up to 5 million rubles for legal entities. After the adoption of the bill by parliament, bookstores are forced to think about adapting their businesses to it, and publishing houses have announced the risks of withdrawing books due to unclear wording. The first actions are made. The service of electronic and audiobooks Litres said that it was ready to withdraw from sale books that would fall under the new law. However, after clarifying the criteria by which product would be labeled as LGBT propaganda, the Labyrinth online bookstore, the very next day after the adoption of the bill by parliament, also hid some of the books to check the compliance with the law. The wording of the law is very unclear now, and theoretically every second book in the bookstore can fall under it. We only have to wait and see the real judicial practice. That's the current situation on books and texts that are banned and prohibited in some ways in Russia. I hope you liked this short video, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, like button and all the buttons below. It really helps this channel to grow. Bye bye, see you soon.